Okay, let's just jump straight into this explainer because today we are exploring a simple 5-letter word that is quite literally going to dictate your paycheck for the next decade. Look, you can forget about basic prompt engineering for a minute, forget trying to learn how to code from scratch. The framework we're unpacking today is called ADAPT. And honestly, this is the definitive path to take you from someone who's maybe a little resistant to artificial intelligence to a true, absolute AI pro. And it all starts with understanding a massive shift that is happening right under our noses. Take the story behind this quote, for example. So a friend of the original creator, a CEO who runs a 200-person company, the guy who literally signs the paychecks, walks into his own Monday morning meeting. And he couldn't understand half the words his team was throwing around. I mean, they're saying RAG, MCP, agents, vibe coding. He actually texted afterwards saying, "I felt like I walked into the wrong office." And this perfectly highlights what happens when the entire world changes languages overnight and somehow forgets to send you the memo. You've got 22-year-old interns knocking out in 2 hours what used to take 2 full days, and you're just expected to catch up while somehow still doing your actual day job.
And then you see numbers like this. A recent MIT study revealed a pretty stark reality. 11.7% of every job can be automated right now. Let that sink in. That is not some wild sci-fi prediction for the year 2030. That's not just hype from some tech CEO trying to pump up their stock price. That is a measurement of what is possible today, right this very second.
So to rescue you from that overwhelming feeling, we're going to walk through the exact 5-stage ADAPT playbook: acknowledge, dabble, amplify, problem solve, and tie together. Let's dig in and figure out exactly where you might be stuck right now. Right, let's start with stage 1. Acknowledge. This stage is entirely about brutal honesty. It's time to drop excuses like, "Oh, my job is way too creative for AI," or "My industry is too regulated."
Once you're past that, we hit stage 2, dabble. Now this is the messy stage, where you're essentially building a mental map of what AI can actually pull off.
In this dabbling phase, you might get your hands dirty with 30+ different tools. You've got things like Perplexity and Notebook for deep research, Gamma to completely bypass staring at a blank PowerPoint slide, or Sarvam for handling really complex regional voice tasks. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is that you are not trying to memorize this giant list. No way. You're just building a vibe, a gut sense for what's possible. So when a weird problem pops up tomorrow, your brain instantly goes, "Hey, I bet there's an AI tool for that." And a quick search gets you the rest of the way. But listen closely, because here is the massive trap. 94 out of 100 people, they quit forever right here at this stage. They touched like 40 different tools, their head is spinning, their bank account hasn't changed one bit, and they just assume AI was this overhyped lie. Why? Because they confuse chaotic tool dabbling with actual progress. They end up consuming content about AI instead of actually using it to solve a real-world problem.
So to escape that failure trap, we have to move to stage 3, amplify. This is where you officially stop being a tourist and you start being a resident.
To survive the amplify stage, and honestly, to survive corporate meetings for the next 5 years, you absolutely must learn 4 crucial vocabulary words. The first one is system prompts. Think of this as the foundational instruction. Look, you wouldn't just hand a brand new hire a phone and say, "Start talking," right? Same thing here. You give your AI a system prompt. You explicitly tell it, "Okay, you are a customer support agent. You speak exactly these languages, and if someone starts yelling, transfer them to a manager." The second vital term you need is RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. Now, I know that sounds incredibly complex and academic, but it's really just a method for giving the AI secure access to your own internal company documents. This forces the AI to stop hallucinating or making stuff up and ensures it's answering questions strictly based on your actual verified data.
All right, third is MCP, Model Context Protocol. This is a massive leap in capability, a real game changer. Think of MCP like a USB port for AI. Before this, your AI could talk, sure, but it couldn't really do anything. With MCP, you plug it in, and your AI can literally step outside of its chat window and execute tasks inside your software, like booking a time slot on your calendar or shooting off a message in Slack.
And the final core vocabulary word is fine-tuning. This is how you train a generic, out-of-the-box AI to become an absolute master at your company's highly specific use case. It takes the AI from being, say, a general physician who knows a little bit about everything and turns it into a highly specialized cardiac surgeon for exactly what your business needs. If you know these 4 words, I promise you, you belong in any AI meeting. Moving right along to stage 4, problem solve. This is where things get really fun and where the money actually shows up, because you finally stop thinking in individual tools and you start thinking in stitched-together workflows.
Consider the massive contrast here. Let's say you need a product photo shoot and, 100 ad creatives by tomorrow. The old way? That meant hiring an agency, spending massive chunks of your budget, waiting 3 weeks, and maybe getting 20 options back. But the new way? Using an AI stack costs a tiny fraction of the price, takes one person a single afternoon, and yields 100 highly polished options. It's night and day.
And this 7-step ad creative workflow perfectly illustrates that shift. First, you use an image tool to whip up 50 variations in an hour. Then, a text model writes 20 headlines in 15 minutes. Then, and this is the absolute most crucial step, you, the humans, sit in your chair and you use your taste to pick the winners. You assemble them, push them live, and use an AI data tool the very next morning to analyze the performance. Chaining these tools together creates exponential value that companies are practically begging to pay for.
And this applies across completely different industries too. Take this 5-step workflow for a medical clinic in Chennai. They were missing like 30% of their calls. So they built a workflow that analyzed their past calls, set up a strict system prompt, connected Sarvam AI so the agent sounded perfectly, naturally human in 4 different regional languages, and used MCP to instantly book appointments on the clinic's calendar. The result? The AI agent handled 1,000 calls a day, picked up the phone in 0.8 seconds, saved the equivalent of 3 receptionist salaries, and only escalated the tricky complaints to humans. That is the power of a workflow. Mastering these kinds of workflows opens up what we like to call an arbitrage window. Because these specific skills literally didn't exist 18 months ago, you have multiple lucrative paths to monetize this right now. You could start your own automation agency, do consulting, build and sell agents, or, and a lot of people overlook this, take the highly lucrative paths of becoming the internal AI lead at your current job, which means you get to build all of this cool stuff without having to start your career from zero. Finally, we reach the absolute summit, Stage 5, Tied Together. This is where you ascend from being just a practitioner to becoming the orchestrator. At this elite level, you're designing systems where multiple AI tools work seamlessly in the background without you even touching them. You wake up in the morning, and your digital chief of staff has already summarized your messy inbox, drafted 3 important replies, researched industry news, and totally reorganized your calendar conflicts. You are no longer an employee of AI. AI is an employee of you. And the output gap between someone operating at this stage and a beginner, it isn't just a 10% bump. It's 1,000% difference. One person at this level easily outproduces a 10-person team.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to lock in these 3 enduring rules. Number 1, AI will do the coding, but humans will always do the programming, because the core instruction and the underlying intention always lives with you. Number 2, clear thinking beats knowing 15 different software tools every single time. Writing a really crisp, clear brief is going to be the absolute rarest skill of 2026. And number 3, AI is just the baseline. It is absolutely not the finish line. Which leaves us with one critical, honestly pretty provocative question to ponder. In about 18 months, every single person on planet Earth is going to be using AI. It's just going to be the standard. So if your only edge right now is simply that you use AI, do you actually have an edge at all? Start adapting today, master those workflows, and build your true advantage. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.